Hey everyone, and welcome to part 2 of episode 5 of the Wild and the Whites podcast.
Where was I? Wow, I can't even think.
Cold.
Cold.
Yeah,
Yes.
warm.
Cold. I don't know what you guys pack or plan on, but like I know when I'm in the woods, whether it's hiking, hunting, any of that, ice fishing, even like
Yep.
my bag that I bring out with me has an extra either down or permaloft layer, like something that's puffy enough that if I get stuck or stranded, even if I'm wearing a wool sweatshirt or any of that type of stuff, like something that's going to insulate me just that much more.
Mm-hmm.
And then if I have to spend a night under a Mylar blanket,
Right.
it's almost like having that insulating layer of having a sleeping bag on top of you.
Yep.
Kind of idea.
And that's why I wear wool everything when I'm going out there, because it can get wet and it still keeps you warm. And wet can be your sweat. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't mean like, oh, I was out in the rain. It just means like if it's wet, it still keeps you warm.
And you know me, I'm not a big wool fan. I find it too itchy for my skin.
Yeah, man, but like the new stuff that's out there is not itchy.
I mean, Darn Tough is a perfect example. Those are wool socks.
And I'll take
True.
your Darn Tough and raise you minus 33, another local brand, right?
Yeah.
That's what I use. And like their merino wool stuff, it feels like Under Armour. It feels like you're just regular, stuff. It's really, it feels like polyester. It doesn't feel like wool against your skin. If you like the actual like rag wool, like gloves and coats that I wear and stuff like that, that's not against my skin.
Yeah.
like Wildland pants.
That's what I relate it to.
Right.
Like
When I hear wool,
that's what I
that's-
relate it
exactly.
to. I relate it to those old
Yeah,
Wildland pants.
I'll show you some of my base layers because they're not like that at all. At all.
No.
And it's really nice for the hunting that we do or anything that we do outside where we're moving a lot.
Yeah.
And then we slow down, I also have a base layer from Stagger Gear.
Yeah.
That's like a really thin layer and it's got a hood on it too. It's just a really thin hood.
Hot pepper, hot chilies.
Hot chilies.
Hot chilies. That's performance wool.
Mhm.
And those
Mhm.
love me some hot chilies.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a pair of those for years skiing.
Mhm.
And they were great.
Yep. Because it like kind of doubles as that like moisture wicking, but also it keeps you warm, and even when it's cold and when it's wet, that's the biggest thing. I mean, I've had days out in the woods where I stop and I'm taking my wool gloves off and like a wet rag wringing them out, but it was just
That's
because
gross.
it was getting heavy. It wasn't because I was getting cold, right? I was still sweating underneath them, but I weighed like 50 pounds extra because I just had so much waterlogged in my stuff, but I wasn't cold.
So like, for me, a lot of it is I start with a lot of layers, but all of my layers can be easily peeled off. So my bag is usually lightest when I start, because that's when I'm going to be the coldest. As I start moving and I start hiking, I'm going to start sweating.
Yep.
And I want
Yep.
to keep those
Yep.
layers off so I can stay cool. If I need to put a layer back on, I've got it with me.
Yep.
So as long as I am warm and comfortable when I start my hike,
Right.
I can peel everything off.
Yep.
Open everything's got a zip,
Yep.
front zip. So
Yeah, something that I do if I'm planning on going to like to a destination, I actually do the opposite. So like
I'm
I
the
will
same way.
start low layers, and as I'm cold right when I start off, and then as I'm walking I heat up and I get comfortable, so then that way I don't sweat. Because like even it's great, like you have all this clothing that keeps you warm even if it's wet, but if you can stop it from getting wet, then you're like ahead of the game. So I'll actually stay low in my layers to begin with, and then like get to where I'm going, and if I slow down and I need to sit, then I'll take extra layers out of my bag and throw them on.
It's amazing how much of this topic where we keep relating back to our hunting stuff,
Yeah.
even though it's not. It's because
Right.
it fits your mindset and your preparedness level, and all those things fit whether you're hunting, you're hiking, you're camping, any of those kinds of things. And right now, like what you're talking about of staying as light as possible on your body and having all your warm stuff in your bag going in, that's total opposite of what most people do when they're hiking.
Yes.
Like,
yeah.
That's-
but it's
my
also
background.
having the
Exactly,
same.
yep.
It's having that same mindset of, okay, what is the end goal here? Am I hiking and just going to keep moving my
Yep.
butt through the trail, or
Yeah.
am I going to stop for somewhere for
Right.
6 hours and go
Yep.
for a sit?
But also it doesn't even have to be that long. Like if your destination is the summit of a mountain, I've done this plenty of times where like if you're going to a place and you're like, I'm going with friends or whatever, and we're probably going to spend an hour or so up at the mountain and we're at the summit and we're just going to be hanging out, I'm probably going to want to put more layers on while I'm up at that higher elevation, possibly exposed to the wind and everything like that. So sometimes putting them on as you go is a better way to do it, because then you're
acclimating better.
and you stop yourself from sweating so much, because it's tough to keep yourself warm when you're wet.
I don't
It's
like
really
stopping on
difficult.
the way once I'm going. So I know for myself, I run as light as I can going in, knowing if I'm going to warm up no matter what, even if I'm cold when I first get on the
Oh,
trail.
yeah.
I'd rather, whether I'm hiking, hunting, what have you, taking the dog for a walk, I'd rather have that stuff in my bag, knowing if I get cold, I could throw something on, but once I get moving, no matter what, I'm going to warm up a little bit. So let's just embrace the suck, get through it,
Yeah.
and keep pushing forward. And if I end up cold an hour into this when I'm still moving, okay, I'll throw another layer on.
Right. And I mean, a lot of that I didn't think of until I started hunting. So going back to what you said, a lot of it has to do with like learning things new for hunting that I didn't even think of, and then it translates into the rest of my life too. Because like you'll see it this fall, like when we go out to sit at a whether it be in a saddle or in a stand or something like that. I'll tell you right now, it's going to be warm, especially if we're out early season, like if we're talking September, right? And so we're going to be in like bare minimum starting out. And then once we get there, then changing into more layers to then just sit down for. And a lot of that has to do with scent control too, which is a whole other different topic. But because you want to stop yourself from sweating, because if you're sweating, you're creating a lot more scent than you normally would. So again, the sweating portion of it is what you're trying to limit, and that comes from either a temperature factor, a scent factor, whatever it might be. It goes back to limiting sweating. So
Absolutely.
and we have a ball rescue again, because now he's just playing with his tail.
This ball rescue break is brought to you by Spalding. Which I think is what he's actually rocking.
I think he is.
I
Yes.
think that's a Spalding.
Yeah. Oh.
What?
Reminds me of Caddyshack. Get dressed, you're playing golf. No, I'm not, grandfather. I'm playing tennis.
Oh, almost lost that ball again. And now it's right underneath him and he can't find it.
But yet you throw this ball, and he might leave it in the woods, come right back to you, and then he'll go back and find it. He's crazy.
Yeah.
Also just a puppy. That's part of
He
it.
is a puppy. So what else do we got for gear? We've talked about water. We've talked about gadgets, apps,
Pants?
pants.
I bring
Pants.
up pants. Hold on, I'll be right back. Pants. It's a pants thing.
All right, Buckley is really into pants. So,
I got a good pair of pants. I got your opinion
all right. Okay, we're back from our break, and Buckley has his pants now.
No. Well,
You went and brought them down, and then you put them over there anyway. So,
yeah.
but go ahead and walk us through your
Reasoning?
your pants that you have over there. Starting off with the brand name
What an ass. So,
that you can't pronounce.
yeah. It's a Swedish company. Let's see how many different ways I can butcher this. Fallraven? Fallraven?
The Fjallraven.
Fallraven? Gooferschnagen? I don't know.
Do you want me to ask Mariah how to pronounce it? Because she'd probably know.
Probably.
Yes.
That'd probably be
This
the
is
best.
a great opportunity to phone a friend.
Yeah.
So they're the G1000 material.
How do we spell it? Fjall.
Probably.
And then Raven?
Yes.
Okay.
But they are some of the toughest pants I've ever worn.
Okay.
I've done many hiking trips. They breathe well. I've got one pair that I've waxed and another pair that I haven't.
What type of wax?
It's
do you know?
It's just like a very simple beeswax.
Okay.
You just kind of rub it in, take a hair dryer or heat gun or whatever,
Hmm.
and it melts it in, and it makes the waterproofing. So mine are from my knees down, around the back of the calf.
Yep.
And that's it. So that way, upper thighs and the back of my thighs stay breathable. But it's double layered in the crotch, the whole butt, and the knees. And I got they just take a beating.
Very nice.
Very nice, yes.
I had to.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it to save my life, but
Nice.
yeah, there's a YouTuber out of Maine that did does these challenges, and he spent 30 days in the Canadian bush in these pants, and he wound up taking just pine sap and just coated them in pine sap
For the wax.
for the
instead of-
wax.
Okay.
And not a tear in them. They were solid pants. It's been 30 days of rough life.
Like how rough have you? Like have you gone through like brambles and all
Yep.
that kind of stuff?
So,
with them?
in a different life, I tested utility poles, and going through
Tested utility poles.
making sure that they weren't rotten on the inside.
Okay.
Yes,
Yeah.
he checked the wood
Yeah.
density in utility
Okay.
poles.
Yes.
Okay.
Like
Interesting.
I said, another life. But as you can imagine, through New Hampshire and Vermont, that's just like
Every power line row we all know is
Yeah.
full of pricker bushes. and
right.
full-
raspberry, blackberry,
Right.
nasties, and I would wear those, and they'd catch, but it wouldn't go through. They just kind of pull right through.
Cool.
They're
Can you feel the prickers through them? Do they stab
sometimes-
through or?
not really though.
Huh.
That's better than what I wear most of the time.
I was gonna say that's my biggest complaint. Like mine hold up really well, but you can feel them through it.
Mhm.
And sometimes, depending on where those pricker bushes go, that's not a good feeling
Yeah,
at
no.
all.
So I used to wear a pair of chaps when I tested poles going up and down, because the chaps, you don't feel it going through. But when I found these pants, I didn't have to.
I'm just picturing.
Yeah,
you
that's
walking
why I'm
through-
smiling. What color were these
Nice.
chaps?
They were bright orange.
Ooh, Were
They
they
were
like?
assless, yes, just like any good
All
chap
chaps
is.
are assless.
I mean, that is chaps. Yes.
Yeah.
Now I'm just picturing like your run of the mill chainsaw chaps.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just
Yeah. So the chaps are a topic that we're just gonna leave behind.
Yeah,
At this
Yes,
point.
we're gonna leave
that
that,
would-
where it stopped and not pick
it
back
worked.
up.
Okay.
It worked well.
Okay.
These work a heck of a lot better.
What were you running for pants when you wore the chaps?
Underneath the chaps are the Carhartts, and the Carhartts double kneed. Still, you'd get the puckers right through them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prickers, puckers, prackers.
That's pretty much what I run right now, are Carhartts, but they're Ridge Cut brand, the Tractor Supply brand.
Yeah.
And yeah, the prickers go right through them. They hold up all right though. I've had 2 pairs that I've run for about 2 years now, and they're still in really good shape. They're
So
just-
most of the time I'm running the Arborwear Cedar Flex pants,
Mhm.
and those pants I have two pairs right now that are over 6 years old,
Wow.
and I have 0 holes.
All right, that's where you beat me.
I might have a couple of times felt prickers through them,
Yep.
but they hold up. I can sit and stuff.
But I guess the other thing too is like
go down, fall down the rocks, and
like
nothing.
how
tears.
much did those pants run you?
70 something bucks.
Yeah, so I'm going to Tractor Supply and grabbing a $25 pair of pants.
Yeah,
You know what I
spend
mean?
More than that.
So that's the thing too, is it's like what price range do you want to run?
Yeah,
So-
what are you looking to spend?
And like if I'm out in a little bit colder weather, I'm running wool pants again, like wool everything. So
Yeah.
And honestly, price point comes down to all this stuff. Like I've
Yeah.
had
Yeah.
Mystery Ranch bag compared to an Osprey bag.
right.
There's definitely differences. There's definitely
Oh, yeah.
things that one does better than the other.
Mm-hmm.
But it's price point.
Yep. Yep.
I ran an
Yep.
Osprey bag for
still run an
years.
Osprey
I
bag.
still have one.
Yep.
I don't run it anymore as the frame is blown out through it, and I just haven't sent it back for the
Right.
lifetime warranty. But
I mean the fanny pack that I wear is like $30.
yeah,
You know, like I don't have one of these really nice wool fanny packs that a lot of the trackers wear or whatever. Like I went on Midway USA and I found a comfy one that's got some extra padding in the lower back and everything like that for like $30. It is what
Yep.
it is, and it works for me. You know.
Yep.
So,
if I run a fanny pack, I'm almost running like our forestry
Yep.
bag, where
Mhm.
it still has shoulder straps, but it's actually a fanny pack.
Yeah.
Like it's meant to.
It's like a
run.
wildland
It's a
pack,
wildland
it's just
pack.
the weight's lower.
The weight's lower on your back.
Yeah.
But again, Mystery Ranch has those hunting packs on their site. I honestly want to get one and try one of those out.
Every
Yep.
so often, Mr. Ranch has a heck of a deal, and it's really hard to
Pass it up.
pass up that when you're looking at $50 to $60 off. Well, that,
$200, $300 bag.
yeah.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at an Osprey bag or
Mm-hmm.
I just got a new backpack for saddle hunting, and I'm looking it up right now because I can't remember. It's made by Trophy Line,
Yep.
and
Is it so you can carry this climbing sticks in?
Climbing
everything
sticks, my-
all in one.
Yep, my platform, but it's also got a big main compartment so I can put my extra layers in there that I'm carrying in to put on once I get there. Where are we at? Packs and bags.
boots and pants.
Boots.
Packs and
It is
bags.
called the Palisade EVA pack. It's $190. So for a good pack, that's
Yep.
a decent price range to be in.
Yep.
Um,
And honestly, right now, saddle hunting's taking off, so all the things involved with it, the prices are up.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. They're a little bit expensive here. That's for sure. It's 1,600 cubic. So it's got a good amount of room in it, but it's got like a hard. So where you put the platform on the front of it, there's like a harder case that's like probably 8 inches by 8 inches, maybe give or take. That clips onto the front, so you can put stuff in there too on the front of it, like your phone or like my Spot X will probably go in there, like stuff that you just don't want to get
Crush.
banged up. Yeah. And it's got a great spot for a water bottle on the side that's protected from where you're going to put your climbing sticks on it, and so that one's very kind of like case specific.
Well, and it's all about how much of this stuff you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
if you're in the woods every day, like I know my biggest spending right now is on my waterfowl gear.
Yeah. Yep. Well, yeah. I mean,
like,
you spend how much on like Sitka gear and stuff like that?
My
You're
jacket
thinking about
alone.
getting Sitka waders, where I sit
I don't
there,
have Sitka waders
but you
yet.
were thinking about it.
This year I will. But I'm spending. I want to stay dry and I want to stay warm.
Right.
Like those are my two biggest things.
There you
Because
go.
one, as I said earlier, with my Raynaud's, if I get cold, I'm done. So I might as.
And you're not going to enjoy it.
Yeah, I'm not
Like-
going to enjoy it. And half the other thing is I get colder if I'm wet, obviously.
Yeah.
So staying dry. So the Sitka Gore-Tex stuff is phenomenal. Like I have 2 jackets by Sitka that are Gore-Tex, and then I have their insulating windstopper, and their stuff just holds up.
Right.
I haven't found a piece yet that I'm dissatisfied with.
Yeah. Whereas.
You're spending the money
Yep.
up front on it, but I have a jacket I've had since I was 16 years old.
Right.
Still, that I still wear during rifle season.
Whereas, like, I take that same money and I just go for something that's got the carbon alloy technology in it because I want that as well on top of it. So it still has the great rain block, wind block, all that stuff. But I'm buying it from Blocker Outdoors or I'm buying it from Scentlocks because it's got the carbon technology. So if I toss it in the dryer, it helps eliminate that scent off of it, right? Mm-hmm. So it's the same thing.
It's the same thing.
It's the
I
same
have
thing.
Scentlock stuff. Like
Yeah.
I have old Scentlock stuff. I still use it if I go out archery season, but it's not my favorite anymore. Like I've tried a couple different things. The newest thing I'm trying, as you've seen, is that Kuiu
Yep.
jacket that I have. I love their guide jacket. Their guide jacket's been great. I've worn it during hunting season. I've worn it also outside of hunting season, just trying it out because I thought about getting one in just a generic brown or black color,
Right.
just as something to wear. I love the fact that it's a soft shell jacket with pit zips.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. There you go.
It's breathable. It's functionable. It's water repellent. Because
And, like-
how many times a year do we have those little rainstorms come in
Oh,
for
all the time.
a half hour?
All the
and
time.
You're not going to get soaked, but you want something that keep you a little bit dry and keep the wind
Right.
off you so you don't get cold.
Especially if you're just sitting.
Yeah.
And that's why I spend the money mostly on, like, my wool jacket that I got it on clearance for like $35.
I have the same one.
Yeah. Well, you have the black and red plaid one that was like what on sale for like 70 or something
Yeah.
like that.
I don't know.
I have that
I
like
got it
really
as a gift.
Yeah, I got that really ugly brown,
That
like
orange
the
one?
orange one. Yeah, that like no one wanted, so it was on clearance for like $35, and it's great. It's 80% wool and 20% polyester.
My problem is I get too
So-
warm in the thing.
Yeah, oh, it is a warm
Like
coat.
even on
It
the
is a
cold
warm
days,
coat.
like it's too warm for me.
Right.
With how I like to layer my clothing.
But the stuff that I'm sitting around in for a long time, where, whether it be in the saddle or a stand or something like that, then I go for something that I spend some money on because it's got the better insulation and everything, and it's got the rain wicking stuff. And yeah, I just also decide to buy stuff that's got the activated carbon that has the scent control with it as well. So if you're going to spend $200-300 on a jacket and I can get one that has it or doesn't have it, I personally want the one with it because
Yep.
it's just an added bonus to it. So
Question.
yeah,
Back to the gear topic. This is where I was going to go.
there we go.
Do you, when you guys go in the woods, each of you, do you bring a first aid kit with you?
Oh, good call.
Do you
Yep.
bring any survival stuff with you? What do you bring in your bag?
Yeah,
What
so-
would be your EDC in your bag? Would be the question I'm looking for.
Yeah, so I mean, again, it depends on, obviously, like, what are we talking about? Like a day trip like today, I didn't have anything. Whoa, Cannon, Jesus.
You teased him. That was all you're doing, Buckley, by sticking the microphone in his face.
Have something to say?
He already had his thing to say. Sorry about that, everyone.
Nope. Don't chew on the mic cable. You can chew on my hand all you want.
Come here.
So survival stuff you were talking about and medical supplies. If we're going out on a day, a trip like we did today, where it's just going to be a couple hours close by everything. No, I didn't have anything with me today.
I brought my knife. because that's always with me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Well,
right.
that goes back to the whole pocket dump.
Yeah,
we
I
can
mean-
do a whole thing on pocket dump and EDC carry. And all that
Pocket
kind of
knife
stuff.
is like a thing I forget I even had. I had to
You had your bush knife with you.
what's that?
You had your bush knife
And a
with you.
pocket knife. I
Oh,
had
you had
two
both.
knives
Your
on me.
Cleaver.
Yeah. But no, I mean like a pocket knife. I usually forget I even have that on. Like one time I went to the airport and I forgot I even had it on me because it's just something I'm used to having it there. So.
He doesn't carry an expensive enough one to
No.
worry about losing it.
Oh
Yeah.
God, no! Absolutely. What? It cuts. It cuts. Like.
I mean, there's a
does it hold
difference.
does it hold an edge? Does it?
Absolutely.
Uh huh.
Yeah. Yeah.
Buckley and I
Yeah,
are in
yeah.
agreement that there's a very big difference between the quality of knife, between just like a Kershaw folder or a.
So like, if you want to
Nice
spend
Benchmade.
$40-$50 on a knife that is gonna cut and gonna do everything you need it to do, and then when you lose it, you go, okay, that's fine. Or if you want to spend a ton of money on a knife, and then when you lose it, you're devastated.
Right in the balls. Fuck.
Come here.
Again, it's like what do you want? You know, like if you guys want
It's
that,
all
but
about
like.
what.
I mean, I got
quality
this
you
sucker on Amazon, and I've had it for like 2 years. It still holds a beautiful edge, and I mean, I literally cut some saplings down with this thing not that long ago, and I mean, we're talking saplings that were like a ½ inch in diameter, like nothing like crazy, but I needed to clear out some brush, and all I had was this on me, and it worked just fine, you know. But no, is it a top knife that is gonna just hold an edge forever? No, but I've had it for 2 years and it still has that good of an edge on it.
Yeah.
And I think I spent $28 on this thing on Amazon.
No, I mean, there's definitely a point to that. I mean, if I'm know and I'm going into the woods, I have my two knives. I've got a fixed blade Gerber, which has a 6-inch blade, and then my Benchmade that's always on my hip. It's nice and thin, lightweight.
Mm-hmm.
It keeps a solid edge. But between the two of them, the fixed blade is awesome for a utility knife.
Yep.
If I've got to make something or if I've got to cut something down, it's a good knife for
I'm
that.
very similar to you on that aspect. The only difference I'll throw in is, beside having my fixed blade in my folder, I also usually have my Leatherman.
Mhm.
Just for the aspect of all the different tools, whether it comes to my rifle if it's hunting season, it comes to my GPS, any of that little stuff that might have a little screw or something you
Yeah.
want to futz with
Yep.
to fix or figure out the problem. That's why I like having my Leatherman. It's a little added weight, but at the end of the day, if that little added weight saves your ass,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
it's worth it every
yeah.
day.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
My fixed blade is actually Canadian Airman's knife, I think is technically what they're called. They're made by Ontario Knife Company.
Mhm.
It comes with a sharpening stone in the sheath,
Nice.
leather handle, full tang grip. They're just a phenomenal knife.
Mhm.
I've run that for. My dad bought it for me years ago. Have I ever used it? No.
Yep.
It sits in my bag.
But you've
stays
got
sharp.
it.
It's there for an emergency case.
Mhm.
It's not my play knife. It's not any of the
Right.
knives that I mess with. Like, it's there for a purpose, and I don't want it to not be good to go if that purpose ever
Yeah.
arrives.
Right.
I also have a K-bar that I
Yeah, I was gonna
usually
say,
have
I rock the
kicking
K-bar.
around.
Yep, yep.
Like, if I want a knife to mess around with, I'll usually use my K-bar.
Mhm.
And it shows by looking at that thing compared to the other one.
Yep.
But every day, you know, Buckley, because I
Yeah.
got it when I was working with you. My Benchmade is my go-to carry pocket
Yeah.
knife. I have 60 other pocket knives that I could carry, and I've tried them all. And at the end of the day, it's the only one that I can honestly say has been held reliable. The spring assist, the blade holding its edge. Like, I sharpen it once a month, and that thing holds an edge through the month.
Somebody's coming up the driveway.
Oh, we have friends.
Might be my order of camera accessories.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe UPS.
We'll
Okay.
see.
Who's your UPS driver?
I don't fucking know.
Oh.
Hmm.
Wonder if it's Brian.
I usually don't see him.
Okay.
Not usually here. So I'm just gonna go off again. So if you want to just pause.
So how much did your pocket knife cost you?
This Benchmade, I think I paid $234.
Okay. What about yours, Buckley?
Mine was $250.
Yeah. Again, it's the
It's
price
the-
point.
it's the
What,
price
what do you
point,
want to
yeah.
pay on it? Yep.
I'm,
never.
as you both said earlier today, I am the gearhead. I am
Yep.
the one that, like, I'd rather spend the money on it once.
Yep.
And, like, I bought this knife 5 years ago, and it's still, other than the black starting to wear off a little bit in spots, it still looks brand new.
Mm-hmm. And it's just, I guess it comes down to, because we all spend money on things.
Yeah.
More money than we should on certain things, and it's just where do you want to spend your
It's
money?
the appropriate amount of money on things.
It is, where do you want to spend your money?
It's
What
it.
What are you
Is-
looking for out of that object, and what is your end goal?
Right.
Like, I know we just picked up a seat cover for him for our trip to Florida.
Yeah.
And he was, there was one I wanted that was $156
Mhm.
that extended the back seat, made it bigger, and looked way more rugged and built
Yep.
to have a dog on it. Mariah got one, and after we had it for the week we were down there, and since we've been back, it's one, I ripped it trying to get him out of it at one point when he was like, no, I want to stay in the AC, but then he shredded it up,
Yeah.
and so we spent $60 on that one. Now we're gonna end up going with the next size up
Right.
and getting the other one. So
Right.
now we're gonna spend an additional $150 on it, and it's like looking at the whole scheme. Like, now if we just spent that $150 at the beginning, would it have saved us from?
Or did Paul just break it on purpose because he didn't like it?
Don't give her that idea. She's gonna listen to this, and then I'm gonna get in trouble for this whole
so like
thing.
when you started this story, I was like, careful, careful.
That's okay.
And you, yeah, you started down
I'm like
that
a
path.
bulldozer
Like,
going through it. It's all good.
Eesh. I wasn't gonna say it, but
Hey, you do
since
have
we're on
cutout
the topic,
privileges. You can just cut that whole conversation back out.
I do have editing privileges, and that's probably gonna stay right in there.
It's okay. It's not something I haven't already said to her. So
All right, well, yeah,
But I
no.
mean, to your point, I mean,
and God bless her, she puts up a lot with you,
Oh,
so
good. Yes, good for you.
it's very true.
she
Oh.
does. I'm not easy. I know that.
Hi.
You two holding hands
Yeah,
over
apparently
there.
we tried to hold hands, or I tried to hold hands with him.
It's fine.
But,
But to your point, like, as much as I have a $250 knife,
mhm.
had it for 3 years. I bought it my first year with you.
Yeah.
I also have, the cheap Amazon knives
Mhm.
that have done fantastically well. Where I'm like, I'll use this for anything because if I break it, I break it. It's not a huge
Right.
deal.
Right.
I'm not going to take my folding knife out, put it on the top of a stick, and take another stick and start wailing on it to split the two in half.
Oh, I will.
Right.
With my Benchmade all day.
Well,
I have done
another
it.
difference.
I have done it. I have baton stuff apart just to see if it'd do it. Because at the end of the day, one, it's lifetime warranted.
Yes.
So
Okay,
it
all right,
breaks.
yeah.
You send it back, and they will guarantee it. The one I have has a design feature into it where it has two locking mechanisms. So you're locking the blade in multiple forms.
Yeah.
So that way, I wanted to see what it could do. Like, I
Mhm.
wanted to test the
Mhm.
idea behind it. If I could just carry one knife now instead of going to
Yeah.
keeping the two knives was kind of my idea, and it works. Like, that's why for me most of the time, unless I'm going on like a longer hike or a longer trek out in the woods on a track,
Mhm.
I'm only gonna carry my folder because I
Yeah.
don't need anything. Like, I don't need another knife on me that can do the same thing. I don't need a fixed blade if this can do the exact same thing. You know what I mean?
Is that the warning that someone is leaving your driveway now?
That's
Oh no,
well-
that's Littleton. Gotcha.
But I mean, usually if I'm going for a hike, I also have my folding saw.
Really?
See, and that's a good thing.
It is a good thing.
I really like the silky saws.
Yep, the
I
Gone
have-
Boy.
Yep. Those things are
It's
phenomenal.
right in my truck right now.
Yeah.
I mean, no joke. It's this long.
Yeah.
Folds out.
I had a
and-
little it was almost like a bone saw, that you could just like hold in your
A T
hand.
handle
Yeah,
by Outdoor Edge.
might have been.
Yeah,
I can't remember.
Those-
But it was in a sheath, and I could put it on a belt, and I've lost that thing. I don't know where it went.
Grab one of the Soaky saws. You
Yeah,
won't be
you-
disappointed.
So I originally, because they're on the pricier side, and by price I mean like $60.
Okay.
But
Amazon, 35.
Gerber had one at Walmart for maybe $30. And I was like, well, it's the same thing.
Yep.
And I wound up going out into the woods, and I was cutting up pine, and it got all in the blade. Pine hardened. I could not get it out. I wound up having to take like a torch to it and melting the stuff
wow.
out. The silky, it ejects the
The
sawdust.
Soaky saw is like an arborist
Yeah.
saw. It's a true arborist saw. A lot of tree guys use them.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
They're not heavy.
Yep.
They also make one called the katana, which is like
Well,
6 feet long.
That in and of itself has it
Folding,
sold for
by
me.
the way.
2 hands.
It's a folding saw.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's pretty sweet.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I kind
Check
of
it
want
out.
one just to say I have one.
Because I want to be out there cutting trees like 2 hands. Yeah.
What other gear?
So, again, not come from a hunting background, but from more of an overnight camping kind of a background. I've got a Jetboil that I absolutely love.
Yeah.
They're weighty, but surprisingly not as much as I was expecting.
Okay.
Um,
Do you know which Jetboil you have?
it is the standard
Okay.
size style.
Because I just asked because I've been considering getting one and I don't know.
Oh,
There's a couple different
There's a couple
options.
different
so-
sizes. They've got the big bowl one.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, mine is the standard original size. 'Cause I've
Yep.
had it. I've had it for 6 years now.
I had an MRS stove for a
Yep.
long time, and then I had a Jetboil. Both are now no longer, but the Jetboil definitely was superb. dude.
Yeah, just in terms of like heating, super fast.
Okay.
I used it to like cook in as
Mhm.
well as like ramen and boil water.
Yeah.
But I have used it to cook on.
Okay.
It's a quality item to have, especially if you're planning on spending the day out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could pack some snacks and stuff, but eventually I'm gonna want a meal.
Yeah.
And
What I've been considering getting it for is ice fishing.
yep,
Because I've got like a 2-burner Coleman stove right now. And
that's some weight.
it is I mean, like I've got a sled,
Yeah.
so I'm pulling it on. It's not that bad, but it takes up space.
Yeah.
That's the thing for me. So.
No, I could see that. Some of the newer ones.
I want the newer
Oh, wow.
one that has it's like all in one kind of thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? It's the mug almost
Yeah.
on top of the stove, and it's all
That's the
built
one
in.
I've been looking at. Yeah.
I mean, you can make soup in that real quick, or make
Yep.
anything really.
A buddy of mine would throw like bits of beef in there and just make like a stir fry.
Yeah.
So I mean, it is very usable. Has a lot of different options. Like I said, it's not just for a soup,
Mm-hmm.
but sometimes soup is definitely what you want.
It is, especially when you're cold and ice fishing.
Good. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, I've definitely taken an MRE out, but at the end of the day,
That's so. Have you heard of O meals?
Yes.
That's something I throw in my pack too. Because
Meals.
O meals.
meals.
Yeah. So they're like an MRE, but they're not. They're kind of
I've
like
always done the Mountain
House.
Mountain
Yeah.
House. Yeah.
So so here's a difference. So O meals, you have the outside package, and in it the food is sealed up in a different pack. So and then it's got the heating. It's got like a heating element in it too. So you put any water inside the outer packet, You unwrap the heating element and put that in, and then you put the fully sealed food in that water, and the heating element boils up that water around the food, so then it heats it up, and then you pull it out and you unseal just the food and you can eat out of it. So that way you can use any water to make that chemical reaction happen, whether it is sterile or not, and it never
Purified.
touches your food. So versus like the the Mountain House and stuff, where you have to like boil the water and add the boiled water to the Mountain House, that's freeze dried or whatever it is, dehydrated. There we go. That's the word. And if it's contaminated water, then you've now contaminated your food as well.
Yeah.
That's why I like the oatmeals a little bit more, because
I'll
you
have
can
to look into those.
Yeah, they're really nice. It's a small amount of food, but they're high in calories. So even though you're not taking in that much and you might still feel hungry afterwards, you've put a lot of calories in your body. So if you need to expend some energy, you still have the caloric intake for it.
Nice.
So, and they're the same size as the Mountain House packs. So they stick into a backpack or my fanny pack really easily. Stack a couple in there, and you know that if you need to spend the night out there, you've got something to throw in your body that's going to help you get out in the morning. So that's another one. Thanks for bringing that up, because I had thought about that before we started the podcast, but I had forgotten about to bring that up. Yeah.
Little Dinty Moore.
Okay. When if we're sitting on a bear bait stand, I would definitely ask you to just throw some of that on a jet boil and get that aroma cooking through the air.
Yeah, Dinty Moore. That'll put hair on something.
It's classic, man.
It really.
It is, and I mean, if you've sweat all day, just playing devil's advocate,
Yeah.
if you've sweat all day and you've lost a lot of salt and you need some sodium intake, there's really not much more better for you. And I did just purposely say more better for you than a pure salt lick of Dinty Moore.
You're gonna need to bring your water with you.
Oh yeah,
you have
absolutely.
to.
Oh, jeez.
I can't really think of much else to cover on. I think to summarize it, or does anybody else have?
I mean, at the end of the day, this is going to be a topic that, let's face it, we're all gearheads. We all love our gear. My gear's better than your gear. Your gear's better than my
100%.
gear. You know,
Yeah.
If it wasn't, if my gear
It's a
wasn't
very
the best, I wouldn't
personalized
have
thing.
it. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a very personalized thing, and
The knives is a perfect example.
we're
Oh,
gonna
absolutely.
keep it with all of the topics we're gonna cover.
Yeah,
we're
we're-
gonna keep covering gear,
Oh yeah.
and we're gonna keep covering types of brands,
Especially as we buy stuff.
as we buy stuff, there's more stuff down the road coming for us.
Oh yeah.
There's
Saddles.
always something new and better coming out each year.
Yeah.
In each of our mindset, and it might not be the same thing, or it might be.
And with
Right.
Homestock right around the corner, like
Yeah.
the amount of things that we're going to see there is going to be fantastic.
Buckley's gonna
Yeah.
see a lot of new things to him.
Yep.
So
Oh yeah, you're gonna be.
So.
Yep.
your eyes are gonna be opened wide. It's all about.
Stop staring at me with those wide eyes.
At the end of the day, it's all about what you want to spend and what your objective, what
Yes,
your goal
that's
is.
yeah. That's what I was gonna say. Is I think to summarize, like we just showcased pretty darn well how if I can get so bold as to say, just get out there and start your trial and error.
Yep.
Because to each one of us, we carry some consistent things, but we also are very inconsistent in what works for us too. So
And for me, as I use stuff, I'm going to be like, well, that was terrible, or no, that's going to work great, where
Right.
it may not work for you or you
Right.
or you. And this is going to be wild.
it's like, is it gonna be wild in the whites?
It is going to get
Oh, it's gonna get wild in the whites.
I can't with you too.
Anyway, so
professional.
right, but it's what happened to me with saddle hunting last year. I never saddle hunted before, so I just grabbed this cheap saddle. It's a Hawk saddle, $200. It was the saddle and the rope system and the carabiners for it, and I got to try out saddle hunting for a year and realized I liked it. So then this year I spent some extra money on a saddle that's going to last me for a number of years. That's going to be a lot more comfortable. So, and that's why I sent you that good deal on that saddle.
What's the name of that saddle? Timu?
No, it's the tethered. It's a tethered saddle, but what's the Menace? Tethered Menace. So it's like their baseline saddle. But that Midway USA was having a killer sale on.
Yes.
It was like
$79.
I did send it to you. I 100% sent it to you.
Oh, well,
on Facebook.
shows how much
It was like $75 for that saddle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, regularly 189 or something like that. And I was like,
Yeah.
well, I can't beat that.
Is it the thing that didn't load on my phone?
It's probably that
Probably
one. Yeah.
That one,
Tap to see post.
yeah. I don't remember if
Hey,
anything.
There it is. That's the one. That's the one.
I don't know if anything came with it. So that's gonna be
Well,
my next purchase.
yeah.
And
No, if you want ropes and beaners and stuff set up and ready to go on it, I have extra
I've got
ones.
ropes.
So what?
I've got ropes.
I assumed you did, but if you want them already set up for the saddle setup, I'm happy to give you mine, my extra ones, because I just bought new ones for mine. So,
but yeah, and then my buddy Steven was showing me he saddle hunts.
cool.
Last year was his first year. He's very excited, but he was showing me the what are those, the sticks?
Yep,
Steps,
climbing sticks.
The climbing sticks.
Yep.
So
Yeah,
that'll
if
be
you
the
can-
next big step.
That I would say climbing sticks should be your next step, because you can use my setup for ropes if you want, or make your own. Like that, it's so easy to make your own rope setup for
like,
saddles.
What was it like?
You don't.
2 figure eights and a Prusik seem to be
Prusiks are your biggest thing. Yeah. Yeah.
It's a lot of Pro 6.
Yeah.
But also, depending on the millimeter of rope that you use, I also have ascenders that you can use instead of Prusiks, extra ones, because I've switched down to 9.5 millimeter rope for mine, and so my ascenders that I had on my 11 millimeter rope don't work as well on it, so I had to get new ones for my thinner ropes. So I've got ascenders if you get a thicker, like 10.5 to 11 millimeter rope.
Cool.
That you can use too, which makes a big difference, because sometimes Prusiks can just be annoying when you're constantly adjusting them. But up to you.
We'll see.
But again, I get to summarize it. Just get out there, start being outdoors, and have basic survival stuff. Your food, your water, comfort level is really particular to
If you're
each
not comfortable,
individual.
you're not having fun.
Right. But
It's
just
all about what you're comfortable
Yeah.
with and what's going to make you comfortable
Right.
in that scenario.
don't necessarily go by what we have just said, but it could be too. Some of that stuff could work for you. So,
Absolutely.
other than that, what do you guys got to say? Anything?
Get out there, have fun.
Have
Yeah.
fun with it.
Have fun. Try it
Have
out.
fun testing things out. Like,
Yeah.
You're going to spend some money at the end of the day. Like, I'm pretty sure we all got
Yep.
drawers or boxes full of stuff that we've tried and been like,
Yep.
yeah, that didn't work that time, but I could see a time where it might work. Like,
Yeah.
get out there, find those things that are going to work for you on the majority of your experiences in the woods,
Right.
and keep running with them.
Yeah.
And just keep building your
And
stuff.
if something doesn't work for you, it might work for somebody that you know, and then you can sell it cheap to them or give it to them, however you want to do it.
exactly.
So,
Keep building your gear cache out, because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, you never know what's going to come back around. You're going to be like, oh, wait, I have this thing in
Yeah.
my box.
Oh, yeah. Right.
Yeah.
I've
Yep.
had that happen more times than I can count. Been like, oh, for this application, this looks like something I had bought 2 years ago is actually going to work for this.
Right. Right.
So,
Cool.
All right.
Right on.
all right.
All right, guys. Well, that concludes this episode, and we will see you on the next one. Thanks for listening. And before we sign off, I guess we should just talk about the T-shirts and the hats.
Yeah.
Those will be It is July 2nd, and this week we should be getting all the orders in and everything like that.
Orders.
So by the time that this comes out, we should be getting pretty darn close if we haven't already got the order in. So, meaning received everything back. So we will be posting up on Facebook when everything comes in and getting that out to all our listeners. So,
Right on.
alrighty.
Yeah.
Yep.
Cool, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you later.
Have a good day.